It's most important that actually, as far as the power goes, it's many white hats against a few black hats, and all for all practice.
Oh yeah, they'll fall. Not in the spirit. They don't understand, like, we're all already, see, collectivists, they're not. Like, the thing is, we're collectivists. I'm a total collectivist. Like, we're all collectivism is individualism deciding on the collective for the greater good. It's not the collective over the individual. I'm a total collective is the individual deciding on the collective. And then sacrificing everything we are is built on that.
History, we know what the purge is. That's Russia. That's communism. That's Stalin. That's millions of people.
And they're claiming we're doing it, so the left must answer with a purge against us. They're trying to launch their purge July 4th. You're absolutely right. And they're claiming we're doing it, so the left must answer with a purge against us. They're trying to launch their purge July 4th.
So what they're doing with an attack on language is they're trying to remove. If you go Google the purge today, you won't learn about Russia. You're going to learn about Hollywood movies. So once they eliminate the real reason.
No, you're right. Google is going through. It's totally criminal. Google's a totally broken search engine now. And you're right. Exactly. It's like a medical stuff. Anything. It's all BS now. Google is always said don't be evil because it's pure evil. Great point, Chase. Call me back tomorrow. Let's talk to Marco in North Carolina. Marco, you're on the air. Go ahead. Thanks.
Hey, this is Marco Amaya. I'm in North Carolina. And can you hear me, Alex?
I can. Go ahead.
I'm a music producer, and I produce patriotic music, and I was just playing at a venue here in Mooresville, North Carolina. And they're usually used to listening to all the propaganda, sort of rap music that goes on, which controls people's minds, especially my age, 23 years old. So I started playing the Americana music in front of them. And a lot of them, it just sorted out the people. You know, the people that didn't understand it just had to walk out. And all the people that truly believed in this country and what is right, you know, they stayed there and they passionately, you know, gave me their energy and their love. But it really goes to show, you know, how divided the country is in terms of psychologically through all the propaganda.
Exactly, and they want to force all their minions to go out and confront those of us that see through it. This is desperate last gasp. I'm not going to sit here and say a bunch of positive stuff just to say it. We're in a real fight, but we're winning.
Absolutely. That's why I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm also going to apply to work with you at InfoWars, at the Live Sound department, because I truly believe in what you're doing. So thank you, Alex.
Well, brother, we're trying to fund ourselves, so God bless you. The biggest thing people can do is we can hire people is buy products at InfoWarsStore.com. I barely even plug it. Great, amazing products, InfoWarsStore.com. 50% off our fluoride-free toothpaste. It's amazing with iodine, colloidal silver fortified, InfoWarsStore.com. Let's talk to Carlos in Canada. Carlos, thanks for holding her on the air. Go ahead.
Thank you, Alex. Just wanted to mention briefly that come October, there may be a surprise. You see, Bill Maher could not hold himself back. He's privy to information that mills around. And he probably has learned that in this October, a nice market crash and possibly a decline in the economy would be the precursor for the claims that President Trump has been misguiding.
I totally agree with you. They are planning a market crash to blame Trump in October.
Yes, and the whole point I wanted to make to you was the fact that President Trump placed his trust in Senator Jeff Sessions. In 2005, I believe, he worked with Jeff Sessions on a Senate committee on the renovations to the United Nations. And he was very impressed by the senator. But you see, the trust he placed in the senator, his trust is to the Senate, is not to Donald Trump, the president. And so Senator Jeff Sessions knew very well that both political parties didn't want outsiders coming in and causing one party to overrule the other. They have a system whereby both political parties, they take the country back and forth from each other. Come November, they would like to have the Democrats.
No, he doesn't want a real revolution. You're right. So I agree with you. They're planning to crash the U.S. economy and then sit there and say it's Trump's fault. So let them try that. America is awakening. All right, coming up, I'm going to break it down. The Democrats are saying remove Trump via the 25th Amendment. They're moving right now to do it. This is happening now. Take this serious or they'll win. We'll be back. Everyone who has an IQ above room temperature or has any spiritual connection to reality knows that the world is in a state of incredible change, or flux, as it's called, and that we've passed a point of no return. A demarcation line, a event horizon. We came to the crossroads and humanity made the right decision. We decided against austerity and eugenics and technocracy and robot control. The globalists may have decided for it, but humans from the continent of Africa to the continent of South America, to the continent of Asia, to the continent of North America, to Russia, to Europe, in every election and in every vote, both economically and culturally, are saying no to the globalist plan. And so we came to the crossroads. And as I said, we had come to them about 5 years ago. And we made the right turn on the road towards God, towards justice, towards the future. Wasn't about being liberal, wasn't about being conservative, wasn't about being straight, wasn't about being gay, wasn't about being a man or a woman, wasn't about being brown or pink or having a beard or not having a beard. It was about what was in our heart and goodwill versus bad will. The global social engineer's greatest power has been that they've been over the top and so outrageously evil that the average person who's not like that, who has a conscience, who has just a sense of human connectivity, or what the liberals try to claim they have, but we just really haven't, a sense of community. They have gone so far towards trying to drum the humanity out of us that they pushed us all the way back to the other side in a full circle, and humanity came back just like that. The president needs spiritual support. The president needs to know that we understand the big choices that have been made. Because as we go down this path, as we begin to pick up steam for human development and human longevity and human productivity and human expansion. And all of that comes with it. Look what we've done so far. It's unbelievable. Well, this is just baby steps. This is a 1-year-old taking their first few hesitant steps into the future. But that outrages the Satanists. That outrages the control freaks, because if you develop, you're not going to need them anymore. You've got to be stunted and arrested so they can rule you. Because by their very definition, the social engineers are stunted. Because they were engineering planetary rule. Because only slaves can be ruled. They were engineering slaves. I'm not engineering anything. I'm blowing holes in the cage. And I believe in you, and I believe you're going to come out. And I can't believe how ineffectual and pathetic they are. They think their attacks do anything to me. I mean, I've already blown, with your help, so many holes in their operation that I'm just here with actually super positive, super upbeat, super excited. Because I know God's in control and not these child molesters and devil worshipers who think they set the confines of the world, they define reality. No, you don't. So that said, humanity has begun its walk down the right road, but the crossroads is only like 20 feet behind us, and standing back there, calling our name is the siren song. Come back, you're failing, you're losing, it's not good, you're going to die. We don't want to have a depression to get you back in line. We're going to have nuclear war as we see peace, as we see the economy come back. And we're like, well, that's not what's happening. And things look so much better off in the future if we just follow God's plan. But no, come back. Come back. We're going to get you if you don't. Don't listen to that. And it's all a giant con of slave masters and their slaves, and they're all slaves. The slave master is more of a slave than a slave. Trying to control the universe, trying to control an explosion of consciousness. When you can't control an explosion of consciousness, all you can do is meet it, commune with it, and dream with it, and then hope to have a future with it. Because destiny like that, like the double helix of DNA, is an intertwining. It is a merger. It is a synthesis. It is not control. It's turning loose. The system tells you to turn loose all day, but they mean turn loose of your destiny to go with turning it loose. They're the ones that can't turn it loose. The average globalist is the most neurotic, pathetic, unhappy person in the world. They could have $1 billion. They could have 10 billion. These people are enslaved by their worship of the world. They're empty. And so we have begun down this better road, but you have to understand there are other crossroads ahead. And we look at this time we're living in and think of it as some great challenge. This is going to be looked back on as a cakewalk. This is going to be looked back on as one of the easiest, happiest times we've ever seen in our existence as a species. And we're going to go, oh my God, this was the dinging between the bell and the next big round. We thought this was hard because we weren't conscious. We were sitting on the bench, drinking some water. They're putting some Vaseline on our face. Our heads ringing. If you think this calm before the next storm is a challenge, I feel sorry for you. This is a baby step, a beta test for what's going to win for us in the future. Because not everybody's going to make it. And I mean your children. None of you will make it. Some of you watching right now, some of your grandchildren, are going to make it to the next level of human development. I know it as a fact. I've already seen it. But I have a lot of sorrow for those of you that are serving the system, because you're going to be so betrayed by the system, you're not going to know what to do. But I have even more pain for people that believe in God, but believe the churches, that there's not going to ever be legitimate suffering. And so you're going to think you've been betrayed by God. You're going to think you're living through the tribulation when you're only living in a simulation of the true tribulation to come, because God doesn't ever put anything in front of us we're not ready for. You're in training camp. You're in two-a-days. And you're like a fifth grader in Little League, in Pop Warner. You're not in the NFL. And I look at these soulless, worldly people that think they're controlling this dimension, and they think they have power, and it really makes me sad for them, because they don't have any idea what leadership is. They don't have any idea what the human species is. They have no connection to their genetics. They have no connection to the bigger plan. When we come back, I'm going to get more into the bigger plan. And I'm going to look at possible futures that even the establishment admits are probable, versus us taking control of our destiny, which is the true human trait. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. And it's the final segment of the broadcast tonight, and I've already covered this some, but I think I should really go back and look at this again, because we saw the American people elect Donald John Trump over a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. It was back in November of 2016. And then we saw Brennan and Clapper and Mudd and all of them go on TV with their paid gigs at CNN and MSNBC and say that Trump would soon be overthrown, that Trump was a traitor. Phil Mudd said the deep state's going to kill this guy. And so now we see the economy coming back, Americana coming back, our military being rebuilt, our borders being secured, thousands of companies coming back. And then these very same people go on CNN, MSNBC, all the usual channels and say, we want a depression to stop Trump. And they go on and they say, we want to bully not just the head of Homeland Security when she's out at dinner, but we want to kick Sanders, the press secretary, out of the Communist Hen restaurant there in D.C., there in Virginia, outside D.C., and we want to go out and confront all of them because they're Nazis, because a week and a half ago, the former head of the CIA said so. So you've got Brennan saying, overthrow the Trump administration, have the cabinet turn against the president, and implement the 25th Amendment. And then you've got the former CIA head as well, who was involved in all the illegal spying, former head of the NSA, you name it, coming out and saying, again, a week and a half ago, that the president is a Nazi and that stopping families at the border and unaccompanied children is like Dachau, Auschwitz, or Buchenwald. That's a tweet. And then he defended it all over the news. So you've got all these individuals running around like mad dogs using tactics that have been used to overthrow third world countries and enemies of the U.S. But now these are the enemies of the U.S. on the communist Chinese payroll, the corporate payroll, the EU payroll, the Microsoft payroll, the Google payroll. That's who they are. And they're telling you that you're a bad person and that we're going to go after you now. So that's a talking point from all these former CIA heads, NSA heads, Donnie Deutsch on MSNBC, CNN, that go out and get in the face of Trump supporters, make them submit to you because they're Nazis, because CNN, don't forget this, put out the fake photo with the fake video with other children dubbed over crying, saying the little girl was separated from her mother, when the mother and the father, everybody went public and said, no, she's been deported before 2013. She came back. She was put in an immigrant family center. It's only when they can't tell who's who, and most of these kids, 83% we now learn, are unaccompanied by parents, that you then get put in a separate area because you're not going to put kids in general population. It's all a hoax. And then Tom Arnold, who was obnoxious and a joke and an empty vessel, a flesh bag, a blood bag, when he was around decades ago, I couldn't stand him. And then he goes on television Friday, and I didn't even really counter it. But I said it's a total hoax for his Vice TV show. I just said it's a total lie. Why would somebody's lawyer meet him in a hotel where Arnold was staked out with Vice for days, knowing where Cohen was staying? Cohen comes out, poses for a selfie. Even local news said, no, we were there. He talked 20 seconds, nothing happened. He goes on TV and says, it's all true. Trump's corrupt. Trump's going down. And then CNN and others defend it. Well, Arnold's just an entertainer. He's just having fun. That's what they hide behind in Hollywood. It's like when Joe Rogan, my old friend, says, oh, Jones is wrong about Anthony Bourdain and the Clintons being after him, and maybe he was assassinated. And then when Joe gets confronted, he goes, oh, I'm just an entertainer. I mean, this is just total mental patient behavior from Tom Arnold. But I saw articles in the Houston Chronicle. I saw them in the Statesman this morning. I was checking to see what government propaganda was saying. It was like, Tom Arnold's funny. Tom Arnold plays a joke. Tom Arnold, you know, ha, ha, ha. He's an actor. And it's no, he got up on television and lied about what Trump's lawyer said, when those that have actually gotten all of his seized stuff say there's nothing there. That's a whole crime that they seized somebody's lawyer's personal stuff, because it's not about Russiagate, it's about everything else now. So they lie about a little girl at the border being separated from parents. They lie about the Tom Arnold stuff. And then we wonder why they lie. And you go, why do they lie so much? Because they already got caught lying. So they have nothing to lose. Even USA Today admitted on Friday, okay, it's not true. But this morning was getting gas. And people say three things to me, and it's a minority of folks. I shook 400 hands in Hawaii, 300, 400 hands. 3 women came up, got in my face and said that I was a Russian spy and all this other crap. But they say 3 things. And today I'm sitting there getting gas. At like 11 when I'm going to a business meeting, an intel meeting, and they go, you and your Russian boss are going down, and F you for what you've done to those children. And I said, it's always the same. I go, what did I do? And the woman's like, 2 things over, get gas. She goes, F you. There's no intellect. It's like I'm television. It's like she saw a Pokemon she was trying to capture or something. It's like I'm not real. She just is. I did something to children. I collapsed Latin America. I was a woman through the desert with a small child who should get arrested for doing it. Anybody should. And I did something. I'm the bad man. And it's just that feeling good. See, it's a simulation. It's not about being real. It's not about actually standing for something or changing the world. It's about pointing your finger at somebody and feeling good. How many live feeds have you seen where I'm out on the street in Austin or wherever, and people go, F you, you Russian? And I'm the most pro-gun, pro-private property, pro-America guy around. Everybody knows that. And here are these leftists that hate America and hate flyover country and love Russia when it was run by communists and love China today, and then they point at the real thing. And I don't say I'm the real thing like, you know, I'm at the end of a pot of gold here like a rainbow. I'm just saying, I stand for what I stand. Globalists think I'm mentally ill and Trump's mentally ill because we don't see the greater picture of world government, how dumb the public is, and the greater cause of our power. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to screw everybody up. Exactly. But you can point, and one of the minions of the system, who isn't even part of it, that woman never got invited to the Kissinger group. That woman never got offered $10 million a year to sell out. That woman was never offered 3 Fox News television shows. That woman wasn't offered starring roles in major movies. That woman just sits there at the gas station and points at me like she's this superior person when I bet you all the tea in China she'd sell her whole family out to be on some stupid reality TV show. You know damn well she would. You could put a gun to my head and I wouldn't F anybody over because I've got my integrity. And I'm sick of these people that have no integrity and no soul pointing at me and telling me, can we queue up to close out the broadcast? If not, it's okay. That clip I wanted to play, it's of Maxine Waters at a rally saying, he's a traitor. Americans are awake to it. And, you know, Trump's being mean and people are booing his secretaries. Oh, my God, our forefathers fought Hitler and got killed, but we got to get booed. We're so scared, Maxine Waters. We have that. It's all right. The point is the video's on Infowars.com. It's on PrisonPlanet.com. And it's just the mindset and the way they operate. Yeah, there's the article. And just how stupid it is. And you wonder, how are people buying into this? So you've got a bunch of discredited former CIA directors and people that think they run the government saying they're about to remove Trump and threatening his cabinet. You've got all these people trying to go around and harass and terrorize and make up lies when Trump has fixed Obama's issues with the border that he triggered by saying, come up here. And then even when Trump says, fine, we'll try to not separate the few percentage of kids that do get separated, and they double down and say, no, we want totally open borders, which is world government at the end of the country. So it's totally clear what's going on. And so it's a choice. Are you an idiot of these people, or do you want a future? It's not that me and Trump are perfect. It's that we're pro-human. We want a pro-human future. And we've gone over that crossroads. And the system's calling back saying, hey, are you sure you don't want to come back here? And I'm like, no, I'm not turning into a pillar of salt. I'm moving on to the promised land. It's a long haul. It's not a utopia, but we don't want to be under your control anymore. It's that simple. And that's why I'm very, very thankful for all of you and why I appreciate you all, because this is history. And the fact that we're just together talking, the fact that we're here aware of all this, that's the real issue. They say the journey is the destination. We're all here together, learning the truth together. That's what's beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live broadcasting worldwide. Our weapon is the truth, and we use it. We fire at will because we are over the target. And the sleeping giant has awakened. I'm your host, Alex Jones, Infowars.com, Newswars.com. It is Sunday, the 24th, the day of June, 2018. We'll be here for 2 hours. As we'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., David Knight in the morning, doing a great job with the real news. And, of course, Owen Schroyer. Epic times. Grave times. Fortuitous times. Interesting times. Dangerous times. Quick-moving, fast-changing, earth-changing times. 25th Amendment times. You know, we've seen this before. We've seen this before. I was told that Trump would never win office, and I told you that was a lie. I told you it was fake polls. And then I was told over and over again he'd be removed. He'd never be seated as president. They would take the delegates. And then as soon as that failed, even though they've been all over the news promoting it, they said, oh, actually, we never said we were going to keep Trump from having his delegates seated. And then Nancy Pelosi's daughter went on TV and called for my arrest on Fox News and made up lies about me that I threatened her. How do you threaten a dead dog, a rotting, soulless corpse? You don't. But she was pissed because I was killing her plan to overthrow the president before he ever got into office. And so now we have the usual suspects, 2 different former CIA directors, coming out over the weekend and saying, we're going to call for the 25th Amendment to be implemented to unseat the president for dereliction of duty and incompetence and mental illness. The mentally ill person that never ran for office and beat you, that turned the economy around and did all this incredible, got peace deals, right? There's the article from The Hill. Ex-CIA chief calls on White House cabinet to revolt against Trump and remove him from office. Insurrection by GOP leadership inner circle necessary to stop president, he says. And who is he? He's the Wahhabist Brennanite who in college admitted he was part of the Communist Party. The CIA said, well, my God, let's put you at the top. He's got Clapper behind him calling for the same garbage, and other former CIA directors as well. Now they want the 25th Amendment implemented to remove him from office, and they want it done now, post haste. They want it done as soon as possible. But here's the thing. They've been pushing this. Remember the clips we played? I'm not going to play them again today. We played them so many times. Where Phil Mudd and Brennan and Clapper would go on CNN with Wolf Blitzer and say, oh, he'll be out by December. We're about to remove him extrajudicially. And our good little buddy, Wolf Blitzer, would say, oh, you mean impeachment? They said, no, extrajudicially. But see, that never happened. So why is this done? This is done so all the crooks that are embedded in the government, stay behind networks is the CIA term, they hold on like the infantry's coming or the cavalry. It's not coming. I've looked at all possible permutations that have human interaction involved. If you kill Trump or remove him, it's even worse for you. You've got mainstream corporate media openly allied with Communist China, the EU, and a bunch of big mega banks who write articles in the Financial Times of London, in the New York Times, in the Washington Post, and just everywhere about how America's done, Americans are dumb, lazy scumbags, white people are bad, but it's like old white people saying this, and China's going to take over, and China's going to bust America's chops, and the unelected head of the EU, Juncker, will defeat us. I mean, he said a year and a half ago, I'll crush Trump, we'll have trade war, we'll shut the U.S. down. Like, these are fighting words, and I'm reading it in the Financial Times of London, New Yorker Magazine, New York Times, Atlantic Monthly. These are establishment publications. They're like, we're ending the family. We're going to savage the U.S. China has 97% of the rare earth minerals. The U.S. will never come back. Lloyd Blankfein, before he got kicked out of Goldman Sachs, is like, I was just at China. They've got 10 times the infrastructure of Trump. You'll never bring America back. These are in tweets. You're like, God, these people are like breathlessly, we'll get you people. And it's like, what did we do to you? But America's the big enchilada. It had half the wealth in 1955. So they parlayed it into global corporate power. So if you're going to screw America over, why not get in a culture of hating? They're not like, well, we're bleeding the country dry. It was a great, beautiful lady, but we're sacrificing her for our global power. No, they're too big a cowards to admit they're doing it, so they decide to hate it. And that's what I want you to understand. Trump doesn't hate America. And so he's like, you see these speeches, and these are real numbers. You've seen them. They don't even debate these. He's like, Canada has a 270% dairy tax, and we have 0. Trump goes, okay, I'll put 100% on them. And they go, oh, my God, you backward, hateful person. He's like, wait, you got a 270. 270. You'll still have I mean, if anything, Trump's being too soft, but he knows he can destabilize things. So he's just like, hey, China, you got a $900 billion trade deficit. We'll do $50 billion. Just pay it and promise to start taking some of our cars, and I'll leave you alone. And China goes, trade war. Trump goes, okay, $200 billion. I mean, this is all something that morons should be able to understand. But instead, the clip's coming up. We've got Bill Maher went on Friday night again after 2 weeks ago. He only works every 2 weeks. It's a lazy ass. And he goes, you all need to go to college about perspective. Trump's way worse than a recession. And so I want a recession to make him look bad. Oh, not he got us out of a recession. Not, oh, he's doing a great job. They admit he's getting us out of the recession depression. But see, Maher lied there, because if you actually look at what Maher said, he said, I want to crash the economy. Crashing the economy means people starving in the streets like Venezuela. It doesn't, or 1929. It doesn't mean, so the PR people had a problem. He came out 2 weeks ago and said, I want to crash, that's the quote, crash the U.S. economy. And I noticed after I shot a video that day, I saw it right away. Saw the news about it. I went and did a video. Yeah, he's hoping for a crashing economy. That's a close quote. So they spun it that he just meant a recession. Now, think about that. They're telling you everything. They're showing you their hand right there. Globalism, if you read Atlantic Monthly or you read what Obama said when he went to Africa or South America, it's the same crap. He goes to Africa and says you got to be poor. He goes everywhere and says you got to be poor. Because the globalists want you under their control. It's called feudalism. And so how big a deal is it that we elected Trump and a year and a half later the whole Russiagate thing's proven to be a fraud? And then now they're just continuing on with the narrative that, oh, he was mean to these kids, and it turns out the little girl was never separated from her mother. 83% of the kids don't even have parents when they come in. A lot of them have been killed. There's no discussion of that, or that he's continuing the Obama policy and trying to even change the law. None of that matters to people that just want to have an emotional response and feel big and feel powerful and feel like they've been wronged. When Trump's already offered Mexico deals to stabilize their economy, their government, dollarize their deal, and bring them way up, because that would be good for U.S. national security. And Mexico's a great country. And I don't just say that. Mexico's beautiful, great, interesting culture, but it's got corruption. And if you don't get rid of that, it'll bring you down. Look at every other nation. Look at our own problem with corruption right now. And what will it be like when the economy comes back in a year and a half just because Trump's in there and he's only gotten a little bit of control over things, maybe 20, 30%, to just change a little bit of what they were doing? Can you imagine what he could do if he stays in? And that's why they're panicking, because they know that if Trump is able to continue to turn things around, you will 1,000% understand the con game, and it's all over, and you won't want to be dependent. You won't want to be a slave. So you think about somebody worth $100 million, in his own words, who makes $10 million a year just on his HBO show, Bill Maher, and he lectures you again and says, you need to go take a course on comparison because it'd be better to have a crashing economy. He now provises it, backs it off to recession, than to have Trump in. Really? Really? What did Trump do? Go, oh, you got a $900 billion tariff on us, we'll do $50 billion. If anything, that isn't strong enough. But again, it shows how smart Trump is. He gets how dependent we are and how set up we are. He just says, give us something. My God. He's like, why do you hate America so much? Why would we want to make it poor? That'll hurt the whole world economy. He's just a pragmatist. He's like, this is good real estate. That's what he says. It's what he did. And they're like, you're mentally ill because you don't hate America. You don't want the bigger. Trump doesn't get the big picture, folks. He's not smart. It's like child molesters that kidnap some kid and go rape him. And if a normal person said, man, that's sick, they'd go, oh, you just don't get it. You're crazy. It's like if you were telling Hitler in 1942 when he's rounding up people for death camps, like, hey, dude, that's not really cool. Be like, shut up. What do you know? I've got everything figured out. And it's the same. And then you look at Brennan and all these other former CIA